Hello, everyone. I thought I would talk to you about writing coaches and what gives someone credibility. Because I've noticed that many people who claim to be writing coaches, especially online, or they're going to teach a writing course or something like that, don't actually haven't actually published anything. They haven't written anything, and I'm like, why would I take a writing course when I'm probably more experienced than the person who's teaching me? That doesn't make any sense. And because here's the thing, just because someone has a large online following, that doesn't mean that they've written anything or actually have any credibility. Those are two different scales. Someone may have the charisma to have a large online following. That doesn't mean that they've actually proven anything in terms of their writing. um, and which is another. Now, I will say that I don't think that having a degree is necessarily important to prove your credibility. Like, I don't think you have to have a degree from Harvard to have an opinion. Like I know that there are some people that I think schools, for example, place too much emphasis on degrees. Like, when it comes to writing, like if I'm trying, not that degrees are worthless, but if I'm going to hire, let's say, two writing if I'm going to hire a writing teacher and I have to decide between two candidates, and one person has a degree in writing but they've never published anything. Another person doesn't have writer doesn't Another writer doesn't have a degree but they've written 20 books. I'm probably going to go with that writer. Especially now, if I'm deciding between two writers and neither of them have published anything but one has a degree, then yes, I will probably choose the person with the degree. So it's not that a degree is worthless, but I think experience is more important in that regard, especially since nowadays writers often aren't taught when they go to university classroom management skills, which would be the only benefit, would be how to manage a classroom. But many writers aren't taught that, actually. I mean, many teachers aren't taught that. And another thing is that I also don't take people people very seriously when they talk about topics online and things, or they debate topics, and they've never actually written anything formally on the subject. I'm not saying they have to have a degree, but if you haven't actually published your work, a book on the subject or the things that you talk about, then to me it's like you have no credibility. Because I think that in order for someone to be taken seriously, they have to lay out their thoughts in a cogent and coherent manner, in a way that has substance, and you can't really do that fully in a YouTube video or in a TikTok video. And so, to me, if you're going to have any credibility, you have to actually write. You can't just be an online critic. And so, therefore, I don't take people seriously unless, when it comes to trying to teach other people things, especially, or if they're trying to lecture to other people or trying to debate. You can, of course, go online without publishing and have an opinion. I'm not criticizing that. But if you're going to teach other people, or if you're going to, like, debate a subject with other people, then I do think that you need to have some credibility through writing. Otherwise, I don't really take you seriously if you haven't actually published anything. And so yes, I think that if someone wants credibility, they need to publish books on the subject, so people can read their work, analyze their work, critique their work. But if you haven't actually done the work in that regard, if you're just an online teacher, or you're just an online debater or whatever, then I can't take you seriously, because you haven't actually put in the work to be taken seriously. But I think it's a major problem that often the people online who get the most attention haven't actually done any of the work. They just happen to have a large online following because of perceived charisma or whatever. But to me, that's not enough to be taken seriously. Unfortunately, when it comes to the online sphere, people are often taken in by someone's so-called charisma, or their so-called verbal skills, but not actually their credibility. Um, and so it seems to me that people need to actually not just look at how many followers someone has, but do they actually have they actually written anything? Do they actually know what they're talking about? But unfortunately, many people are intellectually lazy and don't want to look into that. And I think that's unfortunate because it makes dialogue very shallow when you don't actually have people who know what they're talking about when it comes to writing or teaching or debating. And I wish we could fix such a system, because it would allow for more discourse that just isn't being had within society at the moment.